Welcome back. This is Mr. Cruzato, and I'm going to show you how to complete number 5 here, where we're going to make a relative frequency table. So in the first video, we made pie charts and bar charts. So now I want to make sure everyone knows how to use the relative frequency. So the first thing we did in class is we clicked this cell below the number of cases, and we wrote equal sum, and then we put a parenthesis, and then we highlighted the cases. And if you close the parenthesis and hit enter, that added up the number of cases of COVID in the United States. Let's click this cell where the blue outline is, say equal sum, put the parenthesis, highlight the 18853 box all the way down to the multiple other non-Hispanic that I've highlighted, C10, close the parenthesis and hit enter. So the computer just added up the cases and the deaths. Now put your cursor maybe in this box, box number 14 in the A column, and type equal, and let's click the race ethnicity box, A3, and hit enter. Okay, let's highlight that box. Grab the little blue box in the corner and drag down. This is going to copy the cells. Let's move to this box, which I'm going to call B14, and say equal, and click the box that says cases and hit enter. Let's repeat that. Click box C14. You can see the column is labeled C and the row is 14. Type equal and click the box that says deaths, which says C3, hit enter. Then the goal here is to figure out what we call relative frequencies. So in class, in order to figure out the percent of Hispanics, we took the 684,103 and we divided by the total 2215079. And the way to do that on Google Sheets is we said equal, click the 684,103 box, divide, and click the 2215079 box. So if we were to hit enter, it's going to calculate B4 divided by B11. Then we went up to the corner here where the cursor is, right in front of the B11, and we put the dollar sign. So if you look in the top left corner, we put the dollar sign right below in front of that B, and we moved over and we put a dollar sign right after the B and hit enter. Now some of you may not have had percents. Some of you may have only had a regular number. So if you only had the regular number, we needed to change it to percents. So I'm going to show you how to do that in a second. Then grab the little box and drag it down. Again, some of you may have only had the decimal. With them highlighted, up at the top it says format as a percent. Click that format as a percent. And then next to that you got some arrows. You can reduce the number of decimals or increase the number of decimals. So I'm going to go back and just make it 1 decimal. We're going to repeat that. You can obviously go back and rewind. Click this box, which I'm going to call C15, equal, to calculate the relative frequency of Hispanics that died from COVID. We're going to type the 18853 box, divide by the total 111,705, go to the top left corner and put the cursor in front of the C11, type in the dollar sign, move over past the C, type in the dollar sign. So your screen should look like that, equals C4 divided by C11 with those dollar signs. Hit enter. Grab that box again, highlight, grab the corner, and fill down. Now some of you may have only had this as a number. To change the numbers to percents, you highlight them, go up to where the cursor is, it says format as percent, click format as percent. You can then change the number of decimals. So I'm going to make it just 1 decimal place. So that's how we created a relative frequency table. The fancy word for relative frequency is percent. All right, so now I want you to go to step number 6. Make a side-by-side bar chart of the frequencies. That's this data that I'm highlighting in blue. So highlight that in blue, insert chart. By default, it always creates a bar chart. I'm going to go to Customize, and I'm going to click Chart Title. And I'm just going to add U.S. deaths, or United States COVID cases and deaths. I like to center it personally. I'm going to click Chart Title, Vertical Axes, and I'm going to say frequency. If you don't like the word frequency, you can say count. So I'm going to put both, put frequency or count. Click the 3 little dots again, copy the chart. After you copy the chart, you can go to your Google Doc again. And in that Google Doc, you can create, you can paste that, create a side-by-side chart with the frequencies. So insert or edit, paste. So that's a side-by-side bar chart. All right, then going back to the Google Sheet, we want to also create a number 7, the relative frequency table. That's what we did here that I'm highlighting. So this is the number 7. So that's the relative frequency table. We calculated the percents. Go ahead and highlight that and go to Insert, Chart. And here, this is called a relative frequency side-by-side bar chart. And I'm going to click Customize, and I'm going to change the title. So first, it came up vertical axes, so I need to change that to chart title. And I'm going to say U.S. COVID cases. I personally like to center it. I'll even change the text color to this bright orange. Chart title, vertical axes, and I'm going to change this to percent. Now, I'm going to put these side by side, and I want us to compare these two. If you get a little pop-up that says there's a little tip, you can read about that. So the punchline here is, and I know in one of the classes we talked about it, in the other class we didn't get as far, is which chart is better, which bar chart. And one of the classes said the percent chart, the relative frequency chart, is better because it's easier to compare the number of cases. So Hispanics, you could see, was around 30% cases, and the deaths were less than 20. If you look at Black, non-Hispanic, the number of cases was a little lower than 20%, but the percent of deaths was a little higher than 1% or 20%. For White, non-Hispanic, you could see the number of cases was around 40%, and then the number of deaths was almost 50% looking at that chart. So now I can click the chart, click the 3 dots, copy the chart, go to my Google Doc where you want to paste it, and we can, that was number 7, and I could go Insert or Edit, paste. Question number 6 was, you were asked to create a side-by-side bar chart. So we did that earlier. That was this one here. So I could have copied that and put that in the Google Sheet. So hopefully that helps you understand how to create Google Sheets. After you're done, you want to save this file, not the class file, and then you're going to go back to Canvas and you're going to click this link to submit. I'm going to scroll up a little bit. You're going to click that link to submit, and you're going to attach or upload what you just created. So when you do that, you're going to be asked to upload. Now, your homework is not to do what we did. So your homework if you look at the Google Sheet, I'm going to minimize my screen a little bit. Go back there. So if I were to minimize my screen so you could see it a little bit, at the bottom of the Google Sheet, it says Homework tab, Cases by Age Group. So you're going to do the same thing that we did, but you're going to use this information. So I want you to use this information and create these 8 items. I'm hoping that that is very helpful, kind of having a video reference on how to create pie and bar charts. We will talk about this in class.